It's me, Dipika, again. And if you recall from yesterday, we were hooked onto our personal experiences of awe, which we will pick apart a little more today. Now, COVID-19 has had amazing outpourings of generosity. It's so beautiful to see. Even the desire to outperform others, even in this noble act, nonetheless is a far smaller crime than not lifting a finger to address the prevalence of disparities. Apart from knowing about either consistent or episodic charitable efforts, one is very faithfully enlightened by one's near and my friends and family and others about this super generous special birthday offerings to people who don't have the littlest of anything. Particularly on our birthday every year, we seem to re-fall in love with ourselves and our magnanimous natures. And in this state of awe, it dawns on us that we are so lucky as compared to most everyone else. With this awareness, it will be pretty challenging to resist becoming a benefactor. For if you have, what you want, you are probably in the 1% bracket, and that bit of data is definitely something to be in awe of, as it neatly puts things into perspective about how lucky we are. Consider this, being in a state of perpetual awe, and not just on that one day in the year, would hike our generosity to such an evolved level where there is no giver and no receiver, as both are one. And that is one of the highest lessons we receive and never forget from living in consort with nature. We may not be fortunate to be in nature as often as we hope to, but we only have to look out at our share of the sky and be amazed at what formations of the clouds that we can see from there. So grand. And closer to the equator, during the intense heat of the day, especially during hot seasons, the sky is probably dull, cloudless, almost lackluster. But then if you look closer, there are swathes of kites riding the thermal. And if no other emotion they invoke in us, there's an immense sense of possibility and freedom that we can aspire to, just seeing those birds out there so high. This is awe, isn't it? Does it not thrill us to be part of this? Like the weather, now this is on a different kind of a thing. Like the weather, social media too dictates the seasonal shifts in our moods. Because apart from what may disturb us organically, we are also forced to accept the vicissitudes in our social status. And these transmutations, thanks to social media, are definitely not of a spiritual kind, rather those that leave us feeling completely unworthy and lonely. Depression can creep up on a person insidiously and without warning as an outcome of being denied the rightful number of likes one wants and expects after posting what? The latest image of oneself at a mall. And before you know it, you're experiencing an outbreak of panic from an attack on your identity from all kinds of automatic and persistent negative thoughts that are in your head. Now, going by the research conducted by Stanford University researchers, this kind of rumination can be the equivalent of a tempest in a teapot, which means that your excessive and compulsive thinking only makes it worse for you. At such times, even a half-hour distraction, perhaps small, contemplating nature can reduce your stress levels. But remember, it's unlikely that it can remove the cause of it. To eliminate the cause of your panic, you would probably have to overcome your need for validation from everyone else that seeks it as well. Isn't that odd? You're seeking a rating by someone that rates themselves poorly as it is. How on earth are they going to rate you? By far, a walk in the park is a far better evaluator of your well-being than a million false likes on your social account, because nature awes you with its simplicity, its truthfulness, while fellow humans grasp at your validation and acceptance from being essentially needy themselves. This argument in favor of nature, apart from scientific data about the prefrontal cortex of your brain blipping out when stressed, can help you decide what it is that can ease your depression. So feeding your prefrontal cortex the right sensory inputs becomes necessary for you to have healthy self-esteem. And in fact, your own skepticism about the authenticity of your social media feeds can never make you truly happy with the feedback that you get from people. It is somewhat understood by people who brood that self-rumination is nearly equal to self-damnation. It's obsessive, it's compulsive, and basically destroys our peace of mind. Whoever coined the phrase, "get on with it," had a very good thought coming. Now take a moment, set aside your electronic paraphernalia, and transfer yourselves energetically to a forest setting, far from here, where without effort, your intense social engagement with external stimuli eases. Not because of disinterest, rather because when you are in the flow, like in a forest setting, you don't need the active participation of your brain. Therefore, there is reduced sympathetic arousal and a greater sense of relaxation and a heightened sense of attention to even very minute things like a tiny warbler flitting around or golden flecks of sunlight highlighting the green colors or even a mesmeric rustling in the leaves. The amount of time and energy being expended in Google's beguiling arms is horrifying, leading to attention overload and memory deficit, as it is difficult to recall much of what we read when the prefrontal cortex is relentlessly in overdrive. But leave technology aside and dip into nature, and you can get what is called instant attention restoration, while you move through its green corridors in a meditative state. There is no middleman involved in your relationship with nature, so just nature and you, and nature guiding your meditation. While there are many self-restoration techniques out there, none is freer and more undemanding than some kind of daily meeting with nature. Even merely standing by a window to watch a sunset or a sunrise. I know of people that use paintings of old masters to regain some meaning of their own life. There is empirical evidence that states that our brain default network that makes us think too much, that makes us live in the past, that makes us worry about the future, also seeks restorative places to be creatively inspired by in order to bring out our best. So there's a whole big theory to support this called the attention restoration theory by Stephen Kaplan. And although its import was widely propagated in the early 90s, its significance, I believe, is being keenly felt in the current scenario, where electronic media has overtaken any remaining reserve that one may have had for an indoor life over an outdoor one. Let's take substance abuse. Substance abuse usually means alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, and the like. Add to this potent mix, social media, apart from its vastly good influence, also has a debilitating effect on those who cannot handle the demands it makes on the mature handling of its byproducts, like anxiety, depression, sense of worthlessness, loneliness, and so many other things. And once our attention gets caught up in trying to resolve the ensuing mental health issues, frighteningly with help from people as unaware as ourselves, we are well and truly caught in a vicious net. According to Kaplan, there is a better way to disentangle from our attention overload leading to attention deficit. Why not engage regularly with nature? Even here, there's a protocol for restoring our attention. Kaplan lists under this theory 4 states of attention: clearer head or concentration, mental fatigue recovery, soft fascination or interest, and finally reflection and restoration. Meditators, the serious meditators, may argue in favor of these 4 states being present in their practice. No doubt, meditating in nature can heighten these states. I would like to sign off today by stating that we need awe pretty badly in our lives if we are to make our life meaningful and service oriented. You can be in awe of pretty much anything: money, status, friends, idols, your own self, life itself, natural consequences and calamities, and of course, everything nature related. But each experience of awe creates in us either fear or wonder. I would say we want the latter for an enriching life. Anyway, pick what you may, but let that something help you to aspire towards being a better version of yourself. Thank you so much for listening. I imagine you're doing that. I look forward to a midweek day tomorrow. A big thank you to Help Library for watching over us in the background. Thank you. Goodbye.
Help Talks are daily health-related talks held at Health Education Library for People, Mumbai, India. For more information visit www.healthlibrary.com. Subscribe to Help Talks channel. Be better informed about your health.